like, though, that Falcons are just going to end up playing like the sim, right? It feels like potentially it's a team that like doesn't want to go for that, right? I think they're fine playing like proper on Tracer and Merit on whatever hit scan in combination with a Ramatra.
Well, that might have been a problem for Team Falcons at OWCS Korea Stage 2. It won't be an issue for them here. If they look to match what Weibo Gaming are bringing, it's bound to be a match full of fireworks. As we head, of course, though, onto Oasis, kick things off. Ramatra definitely has been the go-to for many of these teams, but it's been a backline sort of arrangement there. We've seen some variation of Falcons. Okay, we actually saw this from AG against them. They brought that Moira comp in. Falcons were able to handle it pretty comfortably.
I confirm with Jake, he's still not a fan.
Okay, good.
of the Moira. Here on Oasis, there's maybe a little bit more an argument for the close quarters, but it'll be Fielder going to the Juno, now going back to Kiri. So, Kiri, Lucio, backline. Yeah, we're going to get a good old mirror here.
All right, Gushue and someone already meeting in the middle here as Gushue looked at just to knock Chio back towards the low ground. Someone that was able to get in and get a Vortex on towards Shy. That's the perfect opening here. No Freya to speak of for Weibo. Straight off the bat of Falcons instantly striking their heart.
I mean, it was also, Gushue turns the corner, sees Chio, and just immediately pops Nemesis form and tries to chase him. Someone is able to take like a few more seconds, more space, and just push up, get a kill on the Shy, and then end up using his Nemesis form a little bit later to chase some players down. Just a really early commitment there from Gushue.
Straight away, the protocols for Team Falcons in terms of their achieving their win condition, Matt, look way more streamlined, way tighter. They instantly are able to take Shy down first, and now they're at risk of locking Weibo Gaming back in their own spawn. This is Weibo, of course, going for a rush style, which has not been a signature for them, and definitely not one that has brought them the biggest of results. And
no, this is not a comp you would say is like to their strength.
And they don't look great on it so far. You were only one fight in, but it was a pretty convincing L that Falcons handed them. Now they'll at least be able to reassemble themselves. But keep an eye up towards that higher ground here as Merit's got all the room in the world and a bowler shot now to employ. Proper doesn't fancy sticking around for too long, but Lee's going to pursue him after the recall came in. A couple blinks will get the young prodigy out of the fight. And now Weibo are knocking on the front door with a sound barrier in hand.
You got a bowler shot for Merit, so look, it's like maybe they kind of work through the choke. And they just kind of spam that one in. I think they're trying to bait some ults out, so you can have Mew come from the high ground and use that sound barrier.
Well, they're going to get what they ask for. It's going to be a trade of Kitsune rushes here, and a Pulse Bomb stuck in the direction of the front line, and Proper is dominating. Dirty stuff for Pulse Cut on the Shy, and then he cleans up. Wasn't quite a double Pulse kill like we saw in their first series, but it's damn near close enough.
So Weibo holds on to the sound barrier. That's positive. Everything else is a negative, though. I mean, they use that Kitsune rush, the double pulse there from Proper, and I mean, someone has this Annihilation to work with. I mean, you're still in a fantastic spot for Falcons to just sweep through this first round.
Tick-tock, Weibo Gaming, 85% and counting now for Team Falcons. Shy still feeling pressure already, and only Susu employed to try and keep him alive. Elise is able to pick Merit off with the help of Leave. Now he'll take an off angle. Someone has collapsed, so Weibo, no real reason to throw any more ultimates into the bag. They'll at least get on the board, but it has been a tough run so far this round.
So maybe there's an opportunity, though, for them to come back, right? You're going to end up with a faster Kitsune rush here, as Monk is going to be able to go towards that pretty quick.
Bloody hell, someone is, well, he's making sure there's no mistaking his calls right now. He's hanging back for the time being. Merido's been caught out. There was a bit of a disconnect there for Falcons. For whatever reason, someone wasn't really leading for the front.
Yeah, so this is another fight win here for Weibo, and they're also going to be able to hold on to some of these ultimates. You're going to build up towards that Kitsune rush. You can turn this 30% into 90, like, extremely quick here for Weibo Gaming. They are not out of it.
That's right, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's just good Overwatch if Weibo can hold it down. You already talked about how many ultimates they're working with. However, for Falcons, a burst kill from a Proper Pulse Bomb could unravel that entire game plan. And he's hunting. Has to recall away from the Volta connected onto him. Now it's going to be a Kitsune rush from Monk down on the point. Merit, though, found a Kiriko. And this is what we were talking about. Shy, not a chance to deploy that bowler. He is taken down, and Proper just throws away the pulse because, frankly, he doesn't need it. Gushue on the low ground with zero support to speak of, and ultimates be damn. Falcons clap Weibo Gaming, and they'll have the round.
That's crazy. I mean, Annihilation and Kitsune Rush, Pulse Bomb as well, and you end up losing the fight. I mean, that is
egregious. It's not good.
You gotta go out of your way for that to happen. As the annihilation from someone, though, is quite big, using it inside of the Kitsune Rush of the opponents. And then also, I mean, proper on Tracer, just always next level. This is early on. You actually see Gushui when he pops. Yeah, I mean, he used it so early, there's no way he's going to be able to get back with anything.
Someone didn't even have to run into the back line.
No.
Looks like it was like damage from proper and the Vortex picked up the kill. That was a weird split that we saw where someone was kind of left behind. But here, proper just got so much for free. Monk like goes in for a hard Kitsune Rush, but it doesn't really have a lot of protective zoning clearly from Gushui's. He just dies. So look, I mean, if we're being honest, great round from Falcons. This team doesn't really make mistakes. Weibo need to force them, and they made too many unforced errors of their own.
We're going to see the mirror yet again. So we've already seen Falcons, how good they've been in this mirror so far against Weibo. Look at the space they've just taken already. Gushui ends up finding Chio this time, being a little bit aggressive. So this one, it looks like potentially working out in favor of Weibo.
Yeah, Chio appeared to be a little too far forward there. As there was a Vortex that caught onto someone, and it looked like he was trying to wade through molasses. So that created a staggering to Team Falcons setup there that just, the Lucio overextended.
But Falcons got exactly what they wanted, right? They took up that high ground, pushed them back into the stairway. Like, that's a horrible spot to be in if you're Weibo Gaming.
Sure.
So,
but if you trade that for 249 health points of your Lucio, probably not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a fair, fair assessment.
Merritt here, of course, looking to control that mega area, but Proper's already dipping more than just his toes into the bubbling soup here. Someone again in the Vortex, but will be able to make his way to the point. This time, Gushui just gets battered in that front line. Now we're in stall protocols for Weibo Gaming. Leave trying to keep himself safe here from some of that front line pressure. Hilda, though, will go to work and try and keep Merritt in the game. It was almost a one clip there from Lee. Pretty disgusting stuff, and unfortunately, he doesn't quite have the support. Now the cat will begin. Soundberry comes out for Weibo Gaming. They really want to stake their claim to the point and commit to this fight. Somehow, someone stays alive. It's going to be a bowler shot, though, onto Chio that connects with him, and there's not enough healing for Falcons. They never quite built up that sound barrier. Hilda will fall with Kitsune Rush in hand.
No, and I mean, awesome plays from Weibo. Even after they lose Gushui, able to stall the point, playing for Mew's sound barrier, he gets it. Leave does a tremendous job staying alive, even without recall there. Gets the benefits of the sound barrier, drops to the low ground. They have the Kitsune Rush as well. They win the fight.
Chio from the top rope. It's always terrifying to see that, but hey, he lands. It's in a perfect 10 from the judges. Leaving shy. Both are brought down as a result. Gushui with an annihilation now developed. Fell earlier on and won't have a place in this engagement.
Yeah, somewhere Violet's watching and he's like, why couldn't it have worked out like that for me?
Why can't it be me?
why did it have to be me? As Chio goes from the high ground there, high up on the wall, sound barrier connects. Dude, they hold on to 4 ultimates. I mean, they just run them over with that sound barrier. Weibo obviously did a tremendous job winning that first fight and then extending the second one. But now Falcons have a ton to work with.
Leave is locked in. Understands that he's got a pretty big job to do in this fight. Really needs to try and set up or follow up on the damage that Shy's able to put out and secure some of these eliminations. Right now, he's dragging the attention of someone away from the action, but Mew is the one that gets caught, and someone is now shoving into them from that main area. Fielder still doesn't have to use his Kitsune Rush. It's a bowler shot that honestly didn't even really need to be drawn out. Merritt would have been happy enough holding on to it, but again, let one of them go and you can build up the next 2 pretty quickly if you can chain those eliminations together, and Falcons have still got a ton to work with.
Yeah, so the bowler shot gone, and now Weibo, though, that's a nice pick there. So Leave actually just gets right into the back line, just gets rid of Merritt. But on the other side, you actually lose the Freya as well.
Yeah, Chio followed up on the damage that came in from Merritt initially, so it ends up being just a raw trade. Pulse miss, but it doesn't seem to matter. Proper finds Mew low, someone trying to get forward. It's going to be Annihilation now coming out from Gushui. Kitsune Rush in play here for Weibo Gaming, and Chio ends up falling. Gets too close into it. To the epicenter. Into the middle of the maelstrom we are, and someone is the healthier, but he still needs to get Gushui down, and Monk and Mew are keeping him standing. Now someone's in trouble. Full health a moment ago, blink of an eye, now he is down. Leave here knows Frey is hiding up on that higher ground, but Falcons have had to concede the point after at least gaining a slim lead.
Yes, Chio, I think, is trying to heal someone or maybe even knock Gushui back, but walks into the Annihilation when he's so low and just ticks down. So looks like we'll get potentially a final fight scenario here. Mew with that sound barrier advantage. I wonder if Weibo knows and they want to get aggressive.
Mew, obviously, the last time these two played, it was a bit of an Ajax from him that let the series slip for them. Doesn't let that happen this time. It's a clean deployment of the sound barrier, but Chio has one to match it. Lee, it's a question of who he's hunting. Maybe even looking for somebody low enough to perish here to a pulse, and somehow Weibo have just allowed this to occur. Falcons move in, flip the point. Merit has the high ground now as well. Big advantage for your team in orange. Leaf is trying to go to work on his fray, but now he's got Merit's attention. Shy and Monk are down. Merit just staying safe, staying alive, and stalling out these Weibo Gaming players. They're down to Leaf and Gushue. They were on an ill-advised mission to take down the fray, while the rest of their team got cut down to size. And so, Falcons will secure Oasis, the first map in his first of 3.
And when Weibo pushes in with the sound barrier, and the sound barrier comes out for Falcons, instead of like rotating around and giving point to Falcons, they just needed to fight. The sound barrier wasn't that much later that you were at like a crazy disadvantage. You're at a worse position. If you don't fight it, give them points and high ground, and then 99. I mean, that's a way worse situation, and you see how it played out.
The fans of this Weibo Gaming team, obviously seeing them opt into the rush composition is probably a new sensation, because over the years, over the eras of Overwatch, this team under many different names has existed. They've always played their own style. They've always forced that dive look. Very rarely have they sort of gone away from it. And sure, they've got someone like Lige who can give them some flexibility in that tank role as well. But Chio going down early, there just feels like it was an overextension. It wasn't the best start for Falcons there on that second map. Or at least second round of this first map. But still, we are going to see a Weibo Gaming map pick coming up. They might look to try and craft a battlefield a little more to their advantage. We kind of know that Falcons will meet them where they're at, no matter where they go.
So you feel like they'll ban Ramatra at some point, right? That feels like something that Weibo would decide to do.
Or functionally ban him with a map that's quite hostile for him, right?
Yeah.
You seem unconvinced that there is one.
I mean,
we got Gibraltar in the pool.
Yeah, okay. You could pick Gibraltar, not ban the Ram, and do you ban like, do you ban Tracer? Like Leaf can play like, I mean, I don't even know what you would play at that point. I mean, Tracer's so dominant.
I mean, depending on the tank, like you'd open things up for Sojourn. You could also, I guess, play Echo on some parts of this map. You could go airborne.
Which like, Leaf is really good at like Echo. He can play Pharah. If you went Gibraltar, you could put him on like Genji if you felt like that was something that was like viable.
You know, I thought we'd see it. Again, the comp doesn't really lend itself, of course, to the Genji, that rush style, but with the changes to the DPS passive, right, you feel as Genji, you're justified in your commitment and trying to dive them now. It's a little bit easy to work them down with that sort of heal reduction, but we have not really seen any Genji to speak of. Venture has been more prolific so far through this tournament, but maps like Gibraltar may really not lend themselves to their sort of game style.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. So, like, if you're gonna play Venture, you're looking at like what, New Junk City you could play, right? Play Brawl, but you're also probably signing up to play Ramatra at that point, right?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, do you want to bring out like, I mean, do you think Mauga like works? Like that's, you know, we've seen like Mauga Venture comps. Like,
I generally think like you've got two opportunities to ban Ramatra this series. One with the map pick, one with the ban itself, right? Yeah, providing that if Weibo win here, we don't see like a tank first ban to sort of protect that Ramatra, but I can't see someone feeling like they, you know, his team should be spending resources on letting him play the Ramatra, considering his pool is infinite when it comes to those tanks.
Right, so it's just a matter of what they want to do. Do you want to play like a Gibraltar and then save the Ram ban? Because then let's say you win Gibraltar, right? Then they have to pick, maybe they pick like a New Junk City and they ban something else, and then you have the Ram ban, right? So I think it's kind of curious what Weibo Gaming decides to do here.
There are some pretty insane MVPs, world champions on this stage right now. Weibo Gaming plays this game so close, but never quite were able to touch glory in that Overwatch League era. Obviously with a third place finish in Toronto, that final year of Overwatch League.
They're always so close.
And they always give us like banger game doing so as well. They have been that team that have produced incredible matches that they sadly have not been able to win. Yeah,
it's just been a little bit of a curse there for Weibo Gaming, right? Not able to kind of get over the hump as Falcons.
Well, I mean, if the hump is Team Falcons, it's more like an Everest. You know, you really it's not for the faint of heart to try and scale these particular heights.
If
Weibo Gaming are
Falcons-
familiar with them.
In an alternate universe where Falcons and Crazy Raccoon don't exist, Weibo Gaming could like be like the team.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fairness, then like your T1s of the world.
T1 would also have something to say about it.
AG.AL.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, they look good. I mean, there's no faltering step from Alcadia, like some of the rest of those EMEA representatives.
But we could see that, though, when we were casting, like, the EMEA games, like, how good they were. I mean, that was, like, you were watching some EMEA games, you're like, all right, this is EMEA Overwatch. When you were watching Alcadia, you're like, all right, this
is something different.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that I'm a little surprised to see some of the struggles from Twisted Minds, considering they really play Alcadia close over in EMEA. They have some genuinely compelling matchups, but might be looking like it's a one-team region out there at the moment.
Right. It's still waiting for the map selection. I am curious, waiting for the update on our side. So we'll get a chance here in just a bit. But I think the Gibraltar's a really good shout. I think Gibraltar playing that. Do you play like a? So I also think, do you want to pick Gibraltar as well? Because like you wouldn't have an opportunity to pick it, like maybe they actually take you to
there is that risk
or something.
Yeah,
right?
if your best map is one that you risk giving up by not picking it here, then I think you've got to sort of go for it. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to be decided here. Now, if we get the map that I am seeing hovered right now, there's so much history in this map. So I'm seeing Esperanca hovered at the moment, folks. I don't have a confirmation whether we're going there, but that's the map 5 map from these guys' series at Hangzhou. This is the map where it was like 119 meters to like 93, and basically Weibo are about to win, and then we have the nasties of Ajax as there. Mew goes for a sound barrier, and basically things go haywire. Things go haywire, and they end up losing that map, and it's like Falcons just kind of come back from behind a position where we really didn't think they'd be winning that map. So it's kind of legendary. This is also the map where someone and Merit, I suppose, kind of win, or someone wins the Overwatch League. So
we were discussing this. Weibo actually does decide to use the Ram ban here. So they go Esperanca, they use the Ram ban. It feels like a must win, right? Because if you don't win here, I guess you go to Gibraltar, the Ram slips through, but then you're looking at, like, do you end up having to play in, Atlas or New Junk City, something like that, like on Flashpoint, which is, like, pretty nasty to play, like, Brawl into. So it is a Falcons ban of the Kiri, so that does impact the ability to play, like, some of the dive compositions that maybe Weibo would like to play. But I still think this is probably a better scenario for Weibo with the Ram gone and the Kiri gone, as opposed to letting the Ram slip through.
Now, there's a good chance we see hazards pitted against each other on this map. Someone who obviously has the mobility and that mantle capacity to play from some of those high grades a bit comfortably. D.Va's definitely an option.
Well, it feels like we haven't seen as much D.Va because, like, the BAP Lucio backline has been extremely good. Remember in EMEA, we used to see teams just play like Brig a ton to stop the D.Va. It seems like I know Lucio BAP also pretty decent against it. It looks like Falcons will end up playing the D.Va. Weibo, okay, so they're going to
very different calls.
An Orisa-based setup. So they're also bringing in Venture, so a very different look.
Yeah. Shy versus Merit, Sojourn versus Cassidy, of course. It's Weibo versus Falcons in the second map. Esperanca is the battleground. And Shy ostensibly has a significant range advantage over Merit. The Falcons, of course, have got a highly mobile composition outside of that with a Symmetra in the mix, so they do want to play this classic sim comp, and they can really just appear in the midst of Weibo Gaming's formation at a moment's notice. Keep an eye out for Proper in these TPs.
Well, Weibo also has, like, some sneaky burst potential, right? Like Shy with a railgun shot and then leave, coming in with the drill, just taking a player out, like, out of nowhere. We'll see how that kind of plays out. As right now they just have Leave on Venture, just contesting the bot.
Falcons are probably hoping for, Weibo to try and take the initiative here. They've set up a lot of these sim turrets, and they eventually decide to come forward. You see that TP, they're really very quickly going to be able to engage.
They used Immortality Field, like, already for Weibo, and you didn't even see, like, anybody get near them, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the call was there, because straight away, Merit's able to get close enough, I think, to leave, to catch onto him with a, hindrance grenade, with a flashbang, and now Falcons have this high ground. Bot obviously is going to move now through that bridge underneath, and this is a very good spot to have a Diva Cassidy composition set up. You can see that Weibo want to challenge this, but they might have to wrap around with the Sojourn.
Maybe it was a little bit of a panic. They thought they were going to lose lead because he had already used the burrow, and he got hit with the flashbang. But still, I mean, not a great use of that Immortality Field early on. Sound barriers from both sides here.
Merit getting a speed boost there inside the Deadeye, but it's going to be interrupted by a Javelin that comes in from Gushwe. Amplification Matrix in from Monk, but Merit's going to be able to pick him up because Fielder's set up one of his own. He might be isolated by Gushwe now for a moment. Can he kite this? He has, of course, a regenerative burst available, and it pops in at just the right time. Fielder.
Matrix is sick.
Tough to kill, and you're right. Someone gets in his way with a Cone of Silence, and Gushwe can't finish the kill. Worse than that, he's staggered out.
Yeah, I mean, someone's going to get a remake. You're probably going to get checkpoint off of this as well. This is a Weibo Gaming map pick, and mind you, they use that Ramatra ban, which we think is going to be really impactful in this series. And even with that ban and map selection, they're getting the bot just speed ran into their base.
Yeah, Falcons reminding us that they do like to play this sim comp on occasion. They definitely have to play a caliber to make it work. TPing behind and then back towards the rest of their formation. Falcons nimble on their feet, but Weibo Gaming might just hit a little bit harder up front, and they have forced Falcons to disengage to the high ground.
With the sim wall, they don't want to push into the high ground, right? So they're going to back up, give up some space here.
Defense Matrix there getting a lot of value. Here's a Terror Surge out of nowhere. Gushwe using it somewhat defensively, and he snarls Proper and Chio up amidst it. Gushwe Hao happy to push forward because Lee's gone to work and has taken Merit down with a tectonic shock, but seeing Mew fall gives Gushwe pause for thought. He turns around and realizes someone has just torn shreds through his backline. We'll try and get the bot back to parity here, and someone is very low, admittedly.
He's up on the high ground here behind Gushwe, so he's on the high ground behind him, but you see, I mean, someone's HP bar extremely low, now able to get that regen. But those kills from someone taking out the backline, that stops any progress that Weibo would have had there. I mean, those two kills are massive.
Weibo set up somewhat defensively here, just hoping to try and match the movements of Falcons along this high ground, but eventually, well, Falcons have to drop down. They're going to have to try and get this bot around the corner, which is advantaging Weibo Gaming for the time being. Burrow here for the Venture, Merit with the TP. It's always hard to keep track of Cassidy being in virtually two places at once. No kill off the Deadeye, but some damage. Someone, though, gets snarled up by Weibo, maybe tempted into the net. They're trying to set in that small room on the right. Getting rid of the Diva is a good sign, and they still commit a sound barrier here. What is the plan supposed to be? Monk's going to be blown up now. Air Matrix for Shy to play through, but it's getting a little bit dicey, a little bit up close and personal. Chio in his face. Only a second kill in this fight. Unreal. The late Air Matrix Fielder to the rescue, and Merit will capitalize on the damage boost. Gushwe and Leave flattened. And this is looking much different to the matchup we saw last time between these two squads.
I mean, they're just playing with them now. I mean, that is like a 3-player sound barrier, and then Chio on the Lucio gets into that small room while Monk has the Amp Matrix going.
Starts knocking heads together.
And then Fielder's got an Amp Matrix on the backside of the door. They also don't even have someone alive for all of that, and now you lose Shy. This is going from bad to worse.
Speed here from Mew. Timing's going to be good. Someone with a self-destruct, but a chance to remake. It's Merit under pressure on the left side, but Leaves walked into an Immortality Field scenario. Here's the Sim Wall comes up, but Merit can't get to the right side of it, and the Terror Surge from Gushwe is able to net the elimination. Someone also desuited, so Falcon's definitely in a power trough, but Proper is charged up, ready to rumble. Unfortunately, it's too target-rich an environment for him to handle.
We're already halfway through the game, though, and you got 102 meters and nothing there. That is a really tough mountain to climb here for Weibo Gaming. So see if they're able to do it. Shy up in the high ground with Overclock. You get a pick or two, you win a fight. You probably need a second fight to get checkpoint, but still puts you in the right direction.
Yeah, look how quickly, though, they've got to give up that bridge because instantly Falcons TP up there, challenge him for that space. Cassidy much more within his optimal range, but Chio there just doesn't quite respect the railgun adequately enough. Shy's able to pick him off comfortably. No, this is Weibo getting a bit of space and potentially a first checkpoint.
That was bad from Chio and Fielder. I mean, that's a rare time where you're just in a really bad spot. And I mean, look, Shy's got an overclock. He's coming around the corner. He can't be just wall riding in that small corridor. So this may actually open up the opportunity for Weibo. It's going to be the tectonic shock here. So potentially you're going to be able to get the checkpoint out of this. Oh, Hinder comes through. Oh, the leave, though. It's sick movement, able to finish off Merit.
Lee will top himself back up again. Weibo find themselves finally in a more commanding position, but the pot has been snuck away from them. So, you're going to have to get their ducks back in a row here. Someone leading it across the map. This guy is trolling. He's able to get away alive, of course, because that's what D.Va does. And that has given Falcons another chance to set up here and defend around this first checkpoint.
And the clock is just, I mean, since Weibo's gotten the bot in their control, we've got like about 2 minutes off the clock here as well. Sound barrier from Chio, going to connect with just about everybody here, but Ant Matrix is up on the high ground, going to deter them from running around.
Yeah, not really a great use case for the sound barrier in that fight. Shy, though, a bit of a nuisance here from that flank position. There's a TP in play off to the right of the screen, so Falcons might be trying to group up amidst this entire chaotic mess. Fielder, Immortality Fielder just keeps him alive, but Shy will try and chase this kill.
He is.
Fielder is hard to kill even on his worst day. But Shy will deal with him. D-Mac here on someone, and it does feel like momentum getting behind Weibo.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's turned, where now you're actually going to lose Merit here towards the end. So this should be checkpoint here for Weibo Gaming. So you're going to be able to get the checkpoint here. You know, you're going to have this Terror Surge, which we've actually seen Gushue do a really nice job picking up some kills with it. You're still probably 2 fights, though, from taking the lead, and now you're below 3 minutes. So really, Falcons, if you win 1 fight, kind of send it back towards basically their checkpoint, you're in a really good spot, because you're looking at that as probably below a minute.
Someone wanted to harass Shy, but I think he bit off more than he could chew there. He gets chunked down fairly low. When now Proper is going to have to deploy this sim wall. He punished for it, though. Leaves able to pick him up with a drill rush here. Merit, though, sees an opportunity to at least generate or emanate some threat and force Weibo back. Terror Surge now. Who's caught inside of it? But Fielder, and he lacks the lateral mobility to get out of it. Sucked in, blown up. Weibo Gaming now taken into the cleaners. 79 meters and counting. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that we see an even total here.
The second half of this map has been so ugly from Falcons. I mean, just so like disoriented, like they're not on the same page. You have people just kind of running out, dying in different areas of the map. And
they're ahead, man. They're going to be ahead after this. That is wild. Proper has to recall. Now someone switching over towards the Orisa, trying to stake his claim to the space, but oh man, the winds and the sails of Weibo Gaming. He leaves Tech Shock, leaves Merit reeling. Proper now with a sound barrier. Falcons getting a little bit desperate, and Shy just picks him off like a clay pigeon in midair. Oh, Gio never had a chance to touch the ground. And here come Weibo Gaming, now in the lead, 1:16 to play.
This was 102-0. With like 3:30 on the clock. I mean, they have just dominated Weibo from that point on. And now an opportunity for them to finish the map. I mean, it doesn't even really seem like it's fueled by ultimates. Really, Leave on the bench doing a nice job assassinating players.
It's fueled by vengeance, man. Pure and simple. Chio not quite picked off there. Leave had an opportunity to go in after. Now the emergence under Proper's going to force out a recall. Boy, this guy is just throwing damage out. It's going to force Proper out of the fight for a small window. Can that be made use of by Weibo? Kushue's going quite low, gets an Immortality Field, so we'll stay in the mix for now. And Monk's got an Air Matrix, he's going to let go basically immediately. Leave trying to challenge those airborne targets, and there's Shy. Railgun accounts for Chio. Air Matrix to get him topped up, and in we go. Overclock at the ready. Terror Surge for Gushue, ties them all together, and Shy wants to FedEx them out of this map. But Monk's down to a Pulse Bomb. Mew at least able to find the trade, and someone's off the map. Team Falcons are floundering, and Weibo Gaming charging headlong towards the end of the map. Last time they saw Esperanca, it was a disaster for this team. This time, it's a different story.
They go down 102 meters to nothing, and they run the entire map back the other direction. That is so rare for a push map, and it kind of feels like that was their series on the line a little bit. You go down 0-2 there. You've used your Ramatra ban. Feels like we're just buying time before the Falcons can celebrate on stage. And now we got ourselves a game.
Weibo kind of remind me, Matt, of Ash Ketchum. It takes a long time for him to win the Pokemon League, but he remains the protagonist.
The main guy.
Yeah, and he, it's a long time before he gets that goal that he's looking for. But every step along the way, he's loved by many. That is Weibo Gaming, folks. They always give us a show. They looked listless, absent, the first part of Esperanca, but they've now come to play. They've come alive, and they've done it here.
Dude,
again, with this Orisa-based composition.
He gets hindered, and even with the immortality field there, I mean, Leave just makes a play. And I think you also saw a way more aggressive, like, Leave and Shy during that one, right? Like, Shy was really coming alive there on the Sojourn. It felt like early on when they were like TPing the Cassidy around, it felt like that was pretty good for Falcons. But once it actually went into a Soj head-to-head, Shy was just kind of rolling.
Spirits now high for the Weibo Gaming crew, but of course it's going to take more than that to silence the Falcons Ultras here in the STC Esports Arena. Some discussion. Of course, Weibo Gaming have to decide how they respond to the map pick of Falcons. Of course, that will give Falcons first ban as well. Now the Ramatra ban will no longer be available to Weibo Gaming. They're going to have to find other ways to try and put some pressure down or find an advantage. We've got to a break, folks. When we come back, map number 3 of this Group A decider between Weibo and Team Falcons awaits us. Well, night has fallen here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but nothing is cooling down, I'll tell you that. Not the weather outside and not the atmosphere here inside the STC Esports Arena. Falcons and Weibo renewing a rivalry forged over years and years of clashes. are even in a 1-to-1 series. This first to 3 already has been delivering.
Oh, man, and dude, this stage looks so sick. We walked around the boulevard a little bit earlier. A venture ban here for Falcons, so you could tell that bothered them a little bit there.
Rustled the Jimmy somewhat.
Yeah, and a Baptiste ban for Weibo, so this is quite interesting, right? Takes that option away from Fielder. So we go into the next map. So taking a look at the map pool, it will be New Junk City, the selection here for Falcons. So if Falcons were to lose this, right, they still have some pretty good maps available. Like you could go to Circuit, you could do like a Blizzard World, let's say, play like high ground. Play.
You could take us to Shambali and force that sort of rush style.
Yeah.
That Ramatra or Orisa sort of setup was very much available to you. The maps definitely favor the current flavor of the month, that current rush approach. And Baptiste here out of the mix will likely send us into Kiriko, Lucio territory. And honestly, it's not all the time that we see Lucio available to play on these Flashpoint maps. Many a team like to ban that hero out coming here. Forcing us into like Juno Kiriko looks where the backline's a little bit less mobile, a little bit easier to pin down.
So do we get Lucio Kiri, right?
It depends.
I think, well, if you're going to play Ram, you probably play Juno.
Not in every case, but yes. I mean, you could obviously do a lot with that orbital ray. The Kiri, though, supplements your Tracer play a lot. Like you play on the fringes, you can try and assassinate backlines. You've got a lot of kill pressure. So it's not a given, that we see that Juno brought in, because sometimes she feels a little, I don't know, a little vulnerable, a little floaty, easy for Tracer, Kiri combos to pick off on the other side.
Kiriko just has insane survivability. The ability, we talk about how good Sim is, able to like TP the whole team around the map. Kiriko can just do that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, this comp is disgustingly mobile. They can basically pull up anywhere at a moment's notice. Deep strike and like space Marines.
All right, so we will see Juno. Nope, we're actually going to see them swap back. So just a speed ring here at the start, just to get everybody out. Save the Lucio speed for a little bit later.
Yeah, cases can be made for both of those looks, I think, but Kiri is going to be the play for both these sides out of the gates, and it is a Sojourn Mirror. This time around, Merit's off the cast. Do not want to let this one slip through their fingers. Falcons have to be disgruntled after the loss of Esperanca. Here's Merit again, just appearing in the middle of nowhere. Now, though, Weibo want to respond to this, try and pressure that front line down, and Fielder just gets a little bit caught out.
It's a boot there from Mute, so puts Fielder in a really rough spot, and Weibo does not want to play the Sim thus far. They want to leave on the Tracer and let him do work. His proper answers here, taking out Shy, you're going to lose Mew as well. So although Falcons gives up the point, feels like they're going to be able to take it right back.
They'll have it back in moments. And I think what Weibo are trying to do is exploit that like a 2 to 3 second window after the Falcons TP comes in where maybe their backline is exposed or there's a chance to run at some of those heroes who would like to try and put the bulk of their tank between them and their opponents. So it's a slim window. And there's no guarantee you win the fight from there. I think Falcons are short-handed and still come away with the dub because Proper gets charged up and someone stays alive by throwing up that guard stance.
Yeah, so Weibo will now work their way back towards the point. It feels like you're a little bit behind in terms when you're playing the Tracer. Like, Leave needs to, be a massive difference maker because the Sim feels like with just the mobility and the scaling damage, you're going to get some, obviously there's a higher ceiling with the Tracer play, but I think with the Sim, it's just the
floor's lower.
Easy, yeah.
I think because sometimes that Kiriko can just kill you as Tracer.
Right.
Harder to do now. Again, it's a little bit easier to challenge those backliners with the DPS passive changes, but it's a very, very real possibility at this level of play. Sound barrier in the hands of both sides. It's going to come out from Chio first. Weibo holding onto their ultimates. Now it's going to be a beat from you. In they come. Proper. A little bit exposed here. Where's the front line? Where's someone? League doesn't really seem to care. Pulse Bomb's going to force a swift step now out of Fielder. He'll get back to safety with the rest of his team struggling as someone attracting as much attention as he humanly can gets Shy and Mew, but is in no position to contest the point.
Yeah, and it was just Fielder there. Fielder gets out, TP's back to someone, and I think they're trying to regroup here. Maybe make a fast push on in.
We should be very wary about this. He does know someone has just used that annihilation. Needs to find the right context to make use of his. Weibo happen to give up the point. They see the Kitsune Rush come in, and they respect it heavily. Looking out for an overclock. Charged up, Shy. Trying to find Merit, who's going to pop the overclock of his own. And now with the Sim wall in play, is heavily favors Falcon. It means Merit really has his pick of the litter in terms of these firing angles to take. And he might be looking to ask for more on that low ground. Someone was able to accost Leave. Apparently the Tracer could not get away. And so Team Falcons have locked up this first flashpoint well and truly. A bit of stagger as they transition to the next.
Yeah, and when Leave dips out from the point, Gushue is there to take control, but he gets so low right away. They're not able to get anybody within the line of sight to be able to heal him up. Even though he's power blocking, you're not able to have him use that like Annihilation you may have wanted to use that close quarter area, so you end up giving up the point.
Off to the next one here, and Falcons already have the gantry secured. Weibo going to have to force their way in, and they've got to be careful of these repositioning. Mamu just beats Chio out randomly.
Okay.
Throw back to the time I called him a newcomer because he changed his name from Evil Tail to Mule, which is a different Pokemon. Should have known better, honestly. And Chinese players like to change their names quite a lot.
Being able to get the point, though, for that cheap, right? Just being able to have Mew take out Chio from across the map when Chio would have had beat, it's quite massive.
Yeah, you don't always like chalk up your win condition being Mike Lucio kills your Lucio.
Right.
But if it ever happens, you are not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. The 28% and counting here for Weibo. Start that we're looking for. Gushue holding onto the Annihilation from that previous flashpoint. Never had a chance to use it in order to achieve their aims of capping it.
Proper extremely low, has to back up. They're going to have to use the beat to keep him up.
Not good for Falcons, not good. They've had it forced, but someone gets forward with a burst of momentum. And a bubble pulse from Lee might have flipped the fight on its head yet again. It's Meriden Chio going down, and Gushue swinging for the fence, turns Fielder into a smear on the ground. Somehow, this back and forth fight, Weibo are able to prevent the capsize and maintain control.
Look, when you have Shy and Leave, even if things don't start off great right away, you can turn it in your team's favor.
Oh, buddy.
Filthy stuff there from Leave.
That's what you want to see. And of course now 96% and counting. Weibo Gaming have taken the second flashpoint, another even game. Of course, no time to rest, so the look on Lee's face, he's already scoping out his next quarry.
It's going to be a rotation here. Both teams are actually really close to each other on the rotation because it looked like Falcons was going to actually try and contest that. So both teams going to get here at almost the same exact time.
Yeah, off to labs we go. It's Falcons with priority though. Weibo still playing from outside. They opted just to take a beat and regroup.
They're trying to get Shy on an off angle here with the Lucio because he's got this overclock to work with.
Someone has built an ultimate, and the time it's taken Gushue to use his. Anyone have a chance to use it in this fight either? Sound Barrier is not going to save the Ramatra from Weibo, and instantly they pull the plug on that fight. That is a free, well, virtually free flashpoint capture take, at least here for Falcons to start us off.
Yeah, and that time Leaves Pulse Bomb doesn't connect with anything. He's got 3 players on him, no recall. It's just a matter of time before he falls. So you're not going to have him now for quite a bit. So this is a pretty dire situation now for Weibo. And this is like, what, 3 or 4 fights where you haven't had Gushue end up using the Annihilation?
Yeah.
Someone's built another one already.
Yeah, he's actually saving it for the Esports World Cup in Qiddiya.
Yeah.
In like 6 years. Just looking for fairer passes to make use of it. Shy, though, not afraid to make use of that overclock. Glancing already came in, and Isuzu forced out a fielder. Chia with a sound barrier now. Shy goes a little bit low. Merritt happy to fight him, especially with that sound barrier and playing Gushue. Oh man, talk about holding onto an ultimate to only have it used in an extremely underwhelming context. That was a stinker, folks.
Yes, this is going to be probably Team Falcons taking this flashpoint, right? Setting themselves up in a fantastic spot here to take this map. But if you're a Weibo, even if you lose this map, I think you still have to feel pretty decent about how you played in this Ram head-to-head. Like
Escort map still in the pool, Matt.
Yep. Yeah. So, still got Gibraltar potentially as a fallback here. So Falcons on their way to the next point. You're probably going to see Weibo try and use this Kitsune rush, and the answer will be someone with the Annihilation, forcing them to fight inside of that.
Yep. Well, they have that option, though. Kitsune Rush will give Weibo the chance to disengage should they choose to and actually shift into like a poke stance in that fight. Someone says, "Fight me, coward!" Gushue might acquiesce now. Punches being thrown in the front line, but someone's always maintaining an awareness of who's standing back behind the enemy Ramatra. Leave goes down, but Merritt was actually felled by a vortex from Gushue, and so the Annihilation is used and times out because Goose was able to play behind his own shield. Now again, Vortex in the back line. Notices Chio looking like a tasty snack, but he can't quite get there. Someone a little bit low. Fielder now has a Kitsune Rush in play, and Gushue is going to batten the hatches, throw the shield up, and wait for the next round of cooldowns to come in. He's done it again. History repeats itself, and it might be on a decided flashpoint as well. That, folks, is a bona fide USDA Prime Ajax.
But that's what I was talking about, though, earlier. Like, Monk ends up using the Kitsune Rush, and sure, it looks like someone's Annihilation doesn't get much of anything because Gushui just backs up, but they get absolutely zero value from their Kitsune Rush for Weibo. And then also, they get zero value from the sound barrier.
Because it never came out. They never actually got one.
Yeah, it never actually happened.
Really just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's sound barrier there from you.
So if you're adding it up, they didn't really get any value from their support ult.
That's not conducive to success in the great game of Overwatch, folks. Falcons have got to be cheering about this one. Very pleased now as their sound barrier catches on to everybody equally. Shy and Mew just thrown in the trash compactor, turned into faintly pink-colored pretzels. And Weibo Gaming are dashed aside. They'll have a slim window, if that, to try and keep this map alive.
They stagger Gushui, so we'll see how the spawns work out here for Weibo. As it's going to be really tough. I mean, he's going to pop up here with like 88 on the clock, and then,
Not good. Not good at all.
I mean, what, Lee will get a touch?
Yes. So, no, he won't. Oh,
hey.
God. The duality of Weibo Gaming rears its head.
That one got silly quick.
It's like the most unsightly Kraken from the depths. Yep, that's a Team Falcons map win through and through. Shakier start for them, sure, but man, they executed perfectly. And it is one of the more maladroit landings I've ever seen from Weibo Gaming. A difficult map for them to really get their hands on the reins. In fact, they were hanging from the stirrups. Never quite got into the saddle as Falcons basically dragged them over the coals.
Just a brutal last two flashpoints from Weibo. It feels like Chris Pocket got there and was like, hey, give me some content for the studio real quick. And they're like, we got you.
Give me some puck fist montages,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like, we got you, fam. It's, man, that's a tough one for Weibo. Especially, it felt like if you win this one, you had so much momentum with Esperanca, and now it's all gone. Let's hear what the studio thinks about that flashpoint.
God help us all.
What a ridiculous finish to games 2 and 3. Welcome into halftime, everybody, as we are now into first of 3 mode. You got to win 3 games. Falcons, Weibo, always a fun showdown. But Jake, did you see this series being so tight?
Honestly, I think Weibo are playing about as well as you can expect them to play. They're trying to take this battle in the rush mirror, and while I think that's a bit inadvisable, maybe it makes sense in this meta with rush being so strong, with Falcons having deep options. This wasn't what I expected. I don't think it's what Falcons expected either, but still that surprise hasn't been enough to overwhelm a team as experienced as Falcons.
We were asking for a game 4, Avril. Is there a chance we get there?
I mean, I said this one's going to go 3-2 to Falcons. That Esperanca surprised me, though, because there was a huge 100-meter plus lead for Falcons. And then the comeback happens. You got to believe the mechanics of the team play of Weibo are good enough to compete with Falcons, but you're starting to see some cracks show as well. That last New York City, as Matt said on the cast, got a little sloppy towards the end. We saw the Mew Ajax. We had a C9 on that final point as well, in a situation where actually a pretty winnable fight. 3 big ultimates coming online for the side of Weibo Gaming, and they just didn't touch.
Let's take a look back at some of the best moments. It all started with a sue from someone getting the Falcons fans fired up. And then in this opening round, I felt like Proper just took over on the Tracer, Jake.
Yeah, he absolutely came up huge here. This set the tone, I would say, for the series.
Yes.
But overall, I mean, I think this has been maybe more necessary than Falcons would have liked, right? Like, Proper are needing to put up big performances like this, and for Weibo to make a comeback here on Esperanca, they both of those show that these teams are more closely matched than some might expect. I mean, Weibo has always been that team that has kind of had Falcons' number. However, right now, someone in Merit, they're holding the line.
We got to, of course, mention what we saw from Shy as well, Avril. The man on Sojourn was a highlight for me in Map 2.
And I think that's the hero that he needs to play, right? Because we saw what happened when Sojourn was banned Map 1, instant Map 1 respect ban. This kill right here on the Chio is actually where I think the comeback on Esperanca happened. Right. Because you see how much meterage Falcons have. Well, after that kill on the Chio, it seems like momentum starts to shift in the favor of Weibo Gaming. So when they're playing the correct heroes, when they're playing the best heroes, Leave, by the way, on this map on Venture, absolutely in the clutch as well. What I want to see moving forward, though, probably Gushui playing a bit more hazard. Go towards the dive. They haven't really shown that yet. They've really wanted to play into this brawl mirror, and they managed to squeeze that through onto Esperanca, but New Junk City just wasn't it.
It all comes down to picks and bans sometimes, so the Ramatra ban has been used. So, if you're Weibo, you're coming in this next one, what can you do to slow down your opponent again?
I mean, the bans are one thing. I think now that with Escort still available, I mean, you could take us to Gibraltar and maybe make this, maybe even a Winston mirror. I mean, honestly, I think there's Hazard is strong, but Gibraltar maybe is still a Winston map.
You want to see the monkeys out?
I think I agree with you. You want to go to Gibraltar, and the reason why is then you lock out Shambali and Circuit. These are not two good maps for Weibo Gaming.
Okay.
If they can go to Gibraltar, there's a dive-heavy map that suits their style. Obviously protect the Winston, maybe ban the Diva away because someone sometimes does like to play that. Put it into a someone versus Gusho Winston matchup or Hazard matchup. That's probably the best look for Weibo.
Who is the most crucial player for Weibo right now, if you could identify one of the 5 on stage?
I think for this next map, I'm going to say it's Gushui. I think the tank performance is going to be critical. Now, I'm surprised neither team has picked Escort so far. If it was me coaching there, I'd have picked Escort on my first map loss because I think there's a really big variance between the 3 Escort maps. You can really control and force very different styles on those maps. But now that we're going to come towards Hybrid and Escort, this is where it's going to be really about deciding the style you want to play. And hopefully that, for Weibo, hopefully that gives them a chance to really set the tone on their pace rather than trying to match Falcons in the brawl, which at 2-1, I mean, it's not like they're getting destroyed in that mirror. However, you're not on pace for a series win. And I think Alvaro's right. You kind of do need to change direction. You have the opportunity.
We got to switch it up. It's got to get different. It's got to get weird in Game 4 if you want to force a game number 5, the first here for Overwatch 2. Quick update, though. This is Group A. And over in Group B, Crazy Raccoon just dropped a game, I'm told. Let's check in. It is Raccoon going up against Team Liquid, the NA squad, able to get the bob going their way.
Yeah, this is a really nice win for Team Liquid just to even get that single map win because they're not favored in this series. Crazy Raccoon, a strong favorite for the entire tournament. The most recent champions from Hangzhou Champions Clash as well. Crazy Raccoon, they don't want to go into this event losing to another North American team. They lost to Nightmare in Hangzhou. They want to make sure they can clean up every NA team. So the fact that Liquid is able to bring it back a little bit on a map like Coliseum, that's a great look for them.
Overwatch 2 bringing fans in from all over the world. A big shout out to everyone tuning in from their home bases, though. Make sure you open up both streams and catch all of the action because we have 2 stages up and running with the best players in Overwatch 2. Crazy Raccoon, the world champions from last year, looking to go back-to-back at EWC, 1 map away from securing their spot in the playoff. But over here on the main stage, there's a lot of Weibo Gaming fans hoping this series goes the distance, Jake.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks, still believing in Weibo Gaming. And I think, despite them being maybe down in this series, maybe struggling in the meta, I'll never count them out against the Falcons. It feels like they hit that 5th gear when it comes into a Falcons matchup. They really play up to that competition. And, for Falcons, there's a lot of history there. Maybe some unfortunate losses, things not going their way when it looked like Falcons were the heavy favorites.
Weave is about to have a career game. I feel it. We're going to a Game 5. I'm going to will it to happen. Will we get a Doomfist?
Probably not on this map. I mean, Gushui's really good at Doom, but probably not on this map. Weibo need to protect their tank picks. They need to bring this to Winston Hazard. That's what I think.
Protect your tank is the final word from our analyst. We hope you are enjoying the show. This is the first of 2 qualifying matches, and it continues right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris Puckett, or Mr. EWC as he's dubbed himself. We are headed, of course, to our 4th map of this first of 3 series. Team Falcons managed to take away New Junk City. Weibo Gaming, though, have a spicy little meatball of a map pick coming in just a second. I'll spoil it. They've opted to go for Eichenwalde.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a really good, dive style map. You could also play like a Risa here if you wanted, on either side, and Weibo will get rid of Sim, so that was what Proper was playing to good effect on New Junk City. And then now on the Falcon side of things, they get rid of the Lucio.
No Lucio on Eichenwalde. Huh. I mean, we don't see that every day, that is for sure. Curious to see how these teams opt to go around this, and you kind of teased it, right? Said there's a case to be made for playing Juno in this Ramatra-based composition. Well, you can bring it in here. The absence of Symmetra does make things a little bit awkward because teams that like to use her get so much value from her, not only on the castle phase, right? That seems obvious, just by being able to, access that high ground, but even on the first point, getting to go from the choke, try and wrap around towards the Hunter's Lodge on the attack side, and even as defenders to get up in the bridge behind the attackers at that first point. There's a ton of things available, and I'm hyping it up, and you're not even going to get to see it. That's how terrible of a person I am. But a lot of other options you could take here. Tracer and either Freya or Sojourn, of course, are pretty reasonable picks. You could bring the Cassidy in there as well, and that is an Overwatch World Cup jersey with the name Leave on there. That one is quite a relic. Of course, they stopped just short of quite an incredible run back in 2023.
Yes, an opportunity, though, here to send us to a Game 5. I mean, these two teams love to battle it out. I would love to see a Game 5 between these two here at the Esports World Cup.
I need maximum Overwatch from these two teams. I think every time I see...
With this crowd as well?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I see Weibo and Falcons matched up. I extend my hand to the heavens and I ask for 5 maps. I'm a simple man. Let me jump in just a moment. You'll note that Weibo Gaming are starting on the attack side here, as Falcons were able to choose the map. They'll start on D. Ramatra, look here. The Brig makes an appearance.
Typically, you would see like Bap Brig, potentially, right? But they still want to end up running the Kiri. The Kiri really good. Like you mentioned a little bit earlier, comboing with the Tracer on some of those flanks.
On this map especially, it's really good.
Yeah. This also, like, if Weibo wanted to play like D.Va, this is a pretty nasty comp for D.Va to play into, with like Falcons running the Ram and the Brig, so...
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. would not be about that.
It looks like they're going to run the... Oh, no, they're going to go back to the Ram. I think you can make an argument either way. I thought they played good enough on the Ram, on New Jung City, to run it and mirror it.
So we do have a Juno Kiri look now. Definitely owing to the ban of the Lucio. Shy and Leave. Okay, so no Farah here. Leave switches over the Tracer. So Tracer Sojourn. Merit sort of opts to pick into the Cassidy. When you do that as a defender, you do give your opponent the opportunity to take up something like the Sojourn, to just outrange you and look to have a fundamental advantage against you at many ranges. That was scary for Gushue. My goodness, he almost got bowled over. However, able to get back to the rest of his team and give a lot of ult charge to his supports.
A lot of players weak, though, on Weibo, so they're going to have to back out. This Proper will win the 101 against Leave. So the Cassidy, it's like, okay, you're disadvantaged in terms of range, but you saw it when Gushue turned the corner, and you have, like, Cassidy, Brig, Ram there. I mean, the Ramatra is gone in seconds. I mean, the health bar just disappears.
Not the start Weibo we're looking for. Falcons already building ahead of steam, and it starts with Proper straight up killing Leave in the 1v1, best we can tell. It's obviously an unbelievable matchup, something we will want to track over the course of this map and the rest of this series. Close to a Pulse Bomb too is Proper. Weibo opting now into a Brig look of their own.
I mean, I like the Juno on offense just to give you the speed ring to turn the corner and close the gap. Maybe you're that worried about Proper, though. Proper has been a nuisance in the back line.
He warps the game just by being in it sometimes. Merit is just hitting too hard there. Gushue's got nothing to do but to throw up the Dukes and play defensively. Mew as his head popped like an overripe cherry, and Monk ain't far behind.
That's what I was talking about with, like, Gushue's health bar just disappears within seconds. I mean, he's just power blocking, slowly walking backwards through the choke for like 5 seconds. And the Kitsune rush was going for Falcons. Pretty difficult spot to be in if you're Weibo. And, I mean, you go Brig to steal or Proper, it doesn't matter though.
Yeah, and that is just the most logical target for that Pulse Bomb. Brig, easy enough to catch. If you don't stick the pulse to her shield, you've got yourself basically a guaranteed kill. Monk has to be patient here. He's going to have to wait for an opportunity. This Kitsune rush will be critical. And he's aware that Proper is hunting and getting ever more audacious with some of these pushes. Monk, chunked very low. Almost got one clipped, and yeah, he's going to go for the rush right about now. In we go. Vortex got cleared out, but a Deadeye being popped defensively for Merit's going to buy a bit of time for Falcons. Weibo got to think on this. Someone bowled over, though. Mew still getting taken low by Proper in the backline, but Shy's able to take Geo, and that's the Brig advantage for Weibo. Finally, able to break through. Kitsune rush. It's great value for a Chinese squad.
And I mean, if you don't win that fight, the series is probably over. I mean, Weibo may have one more shot after that, but it would not have been a good attempt as, you see, if they can continue to make Proper second guess being that deep into the back line.
Do they take the Falcons Ultras chairs away, or do they just never sit down? that is commitment.
Nah, they never sit down. Merit goes over to Freya. So having access to the high ground constantly, right? Being able to get even a higher vantage point. Pretty awesome here for him.
And someone can try and hold Weibo in place here, especially with some of those vortexes cleverly employed. he's not really that interested in fighting Gushway at length. Yeah, into the back line we go. Mew spotted, forced out into the open. His ID's exposed. And so is his corpse. Team Falcons here, good hold. Looking to buy a bunch more time back after a relatively solid first point defense.
And these are some of the worst scenarios in Overwatch where you're having to think about using ultimates to get out of the spawn, right? Where here, if you're Weibo, 2:20 on the clock, let's say you end up using an ultimate or two, you end up losing that fight, you trade the ultimates. I mean, you're like a little bit above a minute left. I mean, you're in a horrible position. That is a huge pulse bomb, though. Chio had rallied.
And that was after Chio already knocked him back with that whip shot. Yeah, Leave does not care. Good opener once more. Weibo's been able to find their way in, but can they land a plane? There's going to be proper running over Shy. Someone holds ground, but this is going to get a little bit ugly now as the Annihilation comes in from Gushway and is just disrespected by someone. He does not care because he knows it's all bluff and bluster. There's nothing backing Gushway up whatsoever. He'll give him the maximum Annihilation duration. He'll feed him the damage, and then he'll fall back and continue to hold this choke.
Oh, but I think he actually gets...
what happened?
Proper is behind someone here, and I think he's weak and just trickles into the vortex.
Someone here, okay, flattening Gushway is big. Just has to go forward, find a way to even the odds, but does overextend a little here. Merit instinctively falling back to the loss of his tank. There's only 90 seconds or less than on the clock. And Shy caught out Fielder. What a pick. That is going to give Falcons a chance to get someone back in the fight without giving up any ground whatsoever.
I mean, they are so aggressive with Fielder on the Kiri and then Proper on the Tracer. I mean, those two players are just constantly on the flank. Everybody on Weibo is supposed to like turn, try and make a play. They even go brick to try and stop it, and they have not been able to do so.
Bowler shot at the ready. It's going to be a continued rush from Monkey. Knows he needs to be the one that starts the action off. Someone's very isolated here. At risk of being run over, but it's going to be a rally and play. Good response from Chio, but he gets stunned up. Mew had the empowered shield bash to get the CC on his opposite number, and Chio as a result couldn't stand tall, which means the effect of the rally is also now absent. Fielder needs a couple of moments at least to get his Kitsune Rush online, but they've already lost Proper, and Falcons will be advised just to sit back and take the next engagement if they can, but Gushway might have got a little bit too close to the sun.
And it's a Falcons Kitsune Rush up on the high ground, so they still have control of this key pivotal area. Shy goes over to Freya. Does not matter. Merit kind of two-taps him out of the sky. And now, you were in last fight territory. Explosive shot landed on the shield. Fortunate for Mew, that one's able to drop, but keep an eye on Proper. Pulse bomb yet again.
Time is short in the round. Less than 10 seconds. Gushway's already down to half health. Now stuck inside a vortex. Being battled around. Knocked back. Annihilation has to be used here for Weibo's tank. And Merit will be waiting on this off angle, but he takes a big hit from elsewhere. Quickly to the rescue comes Fielder. Now topped up. Gushway eventually fell. Bowler shot should account for the Brig. Mew goes low and they're shoved off the cart. That is the kind of defensive hold that wins you series here. Falcons had to be pleased with it.
Crowd, I mean, you mentioned it. They don't even need to put seats.
They're not allowed to sit down.
Yeah, they'll stand, happily stand and cheer on their hometown team. And, when their hometown superstars are making plays like this, you got a reason to cheer. It felt like for the first, minute or two of the game, it felt like Proper was like invisible to Weibo. He was just in the backline basically by their spawn, just doing whatever he wanted. Nice explosive shot there. Takes out Shy. So just a quick push here from Falcons away from securing the series.
Yeah, so little of the map explored there by Weibo Gaming. Losing about 2 minutes on that first checkpoint and then essentially being stopped in their tracks. And Falcons performing pretty well in those short-handed scenarios where maybe they're in like a 4v5, 3v4. Fielder on occasion just pops up with the Kiriko and finds a big kill, and all of a sudden any of the momentum that Weibo could generate by trading upwards or trading positively just dissipates.
So, I don't know, do you need to change anything up if you're Falcons here on offense? I think you're probably deciding like Freya or Sojourn. Let's see. So, I imagine Fielder, because you're playing the Tracer, plays the Kiri, but yep, he's going to do it. Just speed ring here at the start, get things moving. Him and Proper have been so good on the flanks. And then you even see it with someone. He'll TP to someone, use a Suzu right on top of him while he's, brawling it out. Huge difference.
Take the perk that allows you to swift step again within a short window after using it the first time, so you can actually return to your Tracer after going and Suzuing or healing up your Ramattra. It's pretty diabolical stuff. Shy's under pressure. Always going to be in a situation like this, but it's someone who actually falls first. And Team Falcons not quite lined up adequately here. Weibo Gaming looking pretty good on defense.
They just ran it down there, Falcons, right? I mean, they just ran straight down mid, so to speak. And then we see they run into the buzzsaw of Weibo. So they're just trying to get an idea where they're going to be playing from, how they're going to be able to play this, where now you have Shy on the Cassidy, right? So we saw Shy play a lot of the Sojourn and Freya there in the first round. Now, just like Merritt, going to be playing that Cassidy on first point.
Someone just lazily throws a Vortex over towards the right there. It's going to give Shy the hot foot, force him to get moving. You see that pressure coming in from Merritt from that bridge is going to keep the Cassidy out of the line of sight, and that's a stick!
Come on.
Nicely
Nice
done.
Yuzu.
Yeah, had to come out there from Monk, otherwise that's pretty much the map there for Weibo, or at least this point. And in that window, Lee was able to end his way in Merritt's direction. Bring down the Freya. Here's a Deadeye now. Shy just use it for an instant reload as he's under extreme duress on that point. But a Kitsune rush here from Falcons might make it even worse. And Shy eventually getting taken down. Weibo couldn't keep him standing. The rally still came out regardless. A little bit belated in order to keep the Cassidy standing, but it's going to help them deal with someone. Frontline collapses from Falcons, and Weibo Gaming yet again able to stand tall.
Dude, they are so, I mean, that is a 6 Suzu there from Monk. If they lose Shy there, it feels like they lose the point. With this much time on the clock, feels like they lose the map, right? I mean, that is a huge play there from Monk, keeping the minute. Rally and Kitsune, though, used by Weibo, so a support ult advantage here for Falcons.
Can they leverage it adequately, though? Dive in here from Leave. He was looking for a pulse option, surely. Gooch was stunned up briefly by a rallied shield bash, but he's going to pop the Annihilation now for that extra durability and staying power. Someone's got one of his own, though, in the eye of two storms. It's Merritt that perishes to a pulse bomb. Got Promise been able to trade it back. Both Tracers working overtime now across this fight. And Leave now has eyes for the Kiriko, but took a big hit and had to recall. That puts him now back in a more defensive footing. And someone opts to back up as well. Falcons get what they want so far. They're on the point. They've almost got one tick, but now the second wave and the defenders come back in from Weibo. Theoretically, Falcons should have the spawn advantage. They should be able to get their players in position quickly, or more quick. But they're off the point for the time being, and they're still looking for an opening. They never even got a tick.
Well, and you lost Proper. So Proper goes in, tries to get some kills off the spawn, and Monk having a great half here on defense. Takes him out, and that stalls everything.
Less than 1 minute remaining. Weibo trying to take us to a 5th and final map in this series. Falcons have something to say, I'm sure. Vortex thrown in, but it's going to be a roll away from it now. Suzu going to be drawn out of Monk, and now Kitsune rush to the high ground, desperately trying to keep Shy healed up, and look at how hard and fast that Peacekeeper hits, but Proper apparently hits a little harder. Shy's down, Chio's also been picked off though, and again, someone is too early a casualty for Falcons here, and I don't think they can stand up with the lack of that frontline architecture. Falcons are down the last chance here to take the first point.
And honestly, they've done a better job of not allowing Proper in to kill everybody. That's really been the difference maker here as Leave has turned up. Same with Shy, and I think Monk has saved Weibo in this second half on defense.
Oh yeah, we're getting a game as we were promised, as we hoped for, as we kind of expected. Someone close to an Annihilation, but Gouchway already has his, and it's Leave once again accosting these Falcons backliners. Big stick, that's a huge one. Somehow Merritt's kept alive, but not for long as Leave has to follow up with the damage, and Shy now will operate from the top of the hunting lodge, and he definitely has the center. Falcons in his nostrils, pushed up for Gouchway, flatten someone, and Team Falcons will crumble. Weibo Gaming once again are gonna make this more than just a side note. We're headed to a decided map.
This series, there was no other way we were going than a Game 5. And you think back to Esperanca, Falcons up 102-0. Weibo able to come back, bounce back, and win that map. Obviously not able to carry on that momentum to New Jung City, but just that massive comeback gives them this opportunity here for a 5th and final map.
There are more protagonists in this game than any cinematic universe could hope to contain, and they are colliding, and the sparks are flying. What a game from Weibo here. Thought they were kind of cooked, struggling on that attack side. It looked like, frankly, all the cards were being held by Falcons. But Weibo had the ace in the sleeve. Gooseway looked fantastic. someone always the first tank casualty in these front lines. Weibo do a very good job of keeping Gushue fighting fit under extreme levels of pressure. And yeah, this is just a decider game. It's not an elimination match. But you can't imagine the elation that the Chinese scene experienced once again, realizing they'd be represented on the world stage. The game back in their home country, Weibo back on the stage.
I'm sure they're happy. I'm sure the Chinese fans are happy. They want to see them win one of these, though. Let's not just keep going to the game 5. Let's get one. I think that's what you got to be hopeful for here. If you're a Weibo Gaming fan. So, Sparkle talking to the rest of Falcons here. Would you ban Tracer? Because the sim ban is gone from the other side. And Leave is basically only, like, what? We've seen him play Tracer pretty much the entire time.
Yep. Not a meta for Genji.
Huh?
Not a meta for Genji.
No? And you would think Proper would just play sim, potentially.
I mean, Bro is just going to play Venture if you ban the Tracer.
That's true. I mean, honestly, it might be better for Weibo if he does play the Venture. So you may want to just leave it. You could ban Venture, right?
Sure. And then he just plays the Tracer.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're looking at banning a hero that is more of a backup for Leave, depending on the map, right? There's some scenarios. We saw Esperanca, right? The finisher was, I mean, Leave just
and we have Escort, right?
Yep, that's right. However, it's a Falcons map pick, and there are a number of maps in the Escort pool that...
Circuit?
Right, and also Shambali Monastery. I'd be a little surprised if they took us to Gibraltar, but both Circuit and Shambali obviously lend themselves pretty heavily towards like the Ramatra or Orisa-based compositions.
My gut would tell me it's a Circuit, but Gibraltar would feel a little bit out of left field, because that is one that you feel like Weibo would want. Like if you gave Weibo the selection of Escort, they probably would pick Gibraltar. But I mean, it's not like Falcons can't play that type of style.
I mean, where it's fan service because we're willing the Winston into existence.
Yeah.
The thing is that someone might actually be a better Winston player than Gushue. I'm putting it out there. I mean, listen, if there's anybody you want to put in that same conversation, it's probably that guy. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
It's a little 10:17 p.m. hot take there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad I don't have a Weibo account. I know the backlash should be extreme, but I'm doing it. I'm putting it. Listen,
a few lattes down an 11-hour day.
One of them is a world champion. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we go through a lot of the players in Overwatch history. There's a lot of world champions.
But in that conversation,
I wouldn't have them in the same category.
In that conversation, only one of them is.
Right. Yeah. Just like stats. You find any stat you want.
I would love to hear that like our desk's thoughts on this as well. Is it so spicy to say that someone is the best Winston player in the world? Is that really so out of pocket?
I don't think it's out of... Look, you can make the argument. I think there's probably some other people who would like to have the discussion.
I want you to say, Gushue is a better Winston than someone. Say it right now.
I mean, I'm not going to say.
You won't. You won't. Yeah, exactly. So you don't even have a position in this argument.
I'm reinforcing.
Oh, dude, you are the obnoxious guy who always plays devil's advocate.
I'm reinforcing at the moment.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Considering you are the harshest critic of Johnny's when it comes to his flip-flopping or refusal to commit.
I do not think Gushue is the best Winston in the world, but
So who is then?
You want me to pick off the top of my head?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, come on. How long is the list? Really? I want you to do that.
I was like, maybe it is someone.
Might be someone. Oh, that's crazy. Someone's like, I said that.
It might be.
But I'm glad. I have dragged you kicking and screaming into a position where you actually have to think. And I know it hurts, but it's for your own good.
It takes a while to get the wheels turning, you know?
Yeah, that's just inertia. It happens. Well, it comes for us all, folks. You might be giggling out there at Matt's cognitive ponderousness, but trust me.
At least they're giggling. When you talk, there's no giggling. Everybody's like, oh man.
Finish that sentence. Go on. Let me know.
Everyone. I mean, they're like, this Australian guy.
Oh yeah. Okay. We're going to save you, Matt. We're going to drop you into Shambali Monastery, which is going to be our 5th map. Selected, of course, by Team Falcons to try and put a stop to this Weibo Gaming research. It's because I'm not going to lie, they looked sublime on Eichenwalde.
Yeah, so Weibo will actually, the Tracer does go. That's what I was talking about. So they do get rid of Tracer. Interesting, potentially forces Weibo, like, believe could play like an Echo, you could play Pharah, maybe they bring out the Venture again. We'll see what they decide to do. And then Weibo gets rid of D.Va here. So really kind of cementing ourselves into this Ram head-to-head.
Yep. Looks like they're more than happy to go there. Gushue obviously not known as a D.Va player. Like I said, someone who's got a much more focused tank hero pool. Someone's kind of guy will do it all. I think he's more than happy to play the Ramatra here as well. Both teams gearing up for a rush mirror matchup. Lucio can't be banned, of course, and comes on in.
And we'll get that flip for you guys up on the top of the screen. This is Weibo on offense first.
Right.
So it'll be Weibo Gaming on offense first. As they come out of the spawn there, Mew just firing a volley.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, you know, to the Zen, maybe they're looking for, you know, a team to be playing up close. It's been a while since we've seen the close holds here on defense. We'll have that flip for you in just a second. Attack side here is for Weibo. Leave, who obviously is not pictured there in that camera shot, will be going over towards the Venture.
Which is a little scary. This might actually be even better for Weibo. Like, they looked really good when Leave was playing Venture on Esperanca. Interesting though for Falcons, they go with like the Freya and Sojourn combination. So a lot of poke damage from the high ground.
There it is. He's hitting all the buttons, Matt.
That's why when I was like, when we were talking about the Tracer ban, it was like, well, he was so good on Venture, you might want him to just play the Tracer, right?
Leave is giving them all forced nose jobs out there. That is crazy. Oh my goodness, what a sequence. Now, talk about the kind of player you'd want to see get in the driver's seat of the Venture. Leave putting on a show for us here. Whereas Falcons, of course, are playing this like double sort of ranged concept.
This is the best look. Like, Shy was playing some Sojourn and some Cassidy during it, but this is probably the best look they had during the series, right? This is when they were really crushing on Esperanca.
Yes.
So,
yeah, do Falcons have an answer to this, or do they find themselves now in a quandary as to how to deal with this Venture look? Here's a Kitsune rush from Monk. Phil just develops his in time and he'll set it out a little bit later and having him play a little bit longer. Weibo here with a sound barrier now. Chio is a long way away from his beat. Weibo having to crash Falcons as a result. Hitting them hard and fast. And of course with an extra durability, now eyes are turning towards Chio and Leave makes short work of the Lucio.
and when Venture can start like cycling their cooldowns inside of the Kitsune rush, yeah, lights out.
Yeah,
Almost
they alongside
deal.
the Ramatra like benefit so much from that haste buff.
Yeah. Now you have a Tectonic Shock coming in. Falcons still committing to the Freya and Sojourn combination.
I suppose here it's fine. You've got enough space to work with.
Well, you also take the Tracer out of proper sands, right?
Yeah. Freya
I thought if you were going to do this, you would play Sim.
Oh, tech shot from an off-angle lead. Doesn't linger too long and expose himself. Still has a couple of more of those charges, and it's done well to keep Falcons at arm's length, but they're eventually going to come to collect him. Here is the sound barrier. League looking to emerge, ideally with a good timing. Shy doesn't have a great sideline here for this overclock whatsoever, but is going to wait on it instead. Annihilation for Gushue. Keeps Weibo in the fight, but eventually that's going to expire. Yeah, can he get there in time to keep Gushue alive? It looks like he might be able to. Yeah, Gushue still on the fight. No rush, though, from Monk. It looks like Weibo, low as they were, said, let's just get what we can out of Falcons here.
Yeah, they decide to hold on to it.
Wait a minute!
I with 3, excuse me.
Okay, they lost 2-3 plays. I don't even know. Shy's going to run them over. What?
Why not?
Out of absolutely nowhere.
Well, we talk. There's like these games where he just is unkillable and does not miss for 3 minutes straight. That time, able to just casually finish off all 5 players.
He had such a poor sideline at the start of that fight.
Now you're proper going to the Venture.
Okay. Soundberry here from you. Let's it go. Here come Weibo Gaming yet again. Merit just flattened by Shy. Couldn't do much, of course, with that sound barrier disadvantage. And Shy is not stopped. 7 kills in a row. Make it 8. He is working Falcons in every way possible. Someone yet again falls, and Weibo now, to say the wind in their sails would be an understatement.
Yeah, if we gave Falcons a redo on the bans, they probably would have discussed it like we did and say maybe get rid of the Venture instead of
man, that's
Tracer.
He's got such a sick position to play from as well. He's very much out of the fight.
Yeah.
And he's hitting these railgun headshots like crazy.
I mean, this is what the Chinese Overwatch fans have waited for a really long time. Obviously still in groups, right? Not a tournament-winning game by any stretch, but gives you a lot of good vibes moving forward.
Merit finally able to silence Shy, even if just for a moment. It's enough for Falcons to catch their breath, to take a beat, try and be relevant in this engagement. Leave pops up a little bit dangerously, tantalizingly dangled in front of Merit, and Code proper will be able to clean up the annihilation.
So this can be a difficult spot to make it through for Weibo, right? Maybe you're able to get a hold here. If you are Falcons, you'll have sound barrier to work with. I guess for Weibo, like there's an opportunity here, like try and force support ultimates out, hold on, then come back. We'll see if that's how they decide to play this.
Here with yet another beat. Will be matched by Chio in this next fight. We're actually very even on ults across the board, Matt. Could be a 10
big rush advantage though.
Beat from both sides here. You're right. Monk is well ahead of Fielder with that Kitsune rush, but anything could happen. Things could change in the next couple of moments. Tech shock for Leave, overclock for Shy, and in they come. Weibo Gaming, no, this is their opening to try and take this attack side. In they push, but someone's still healthy. Proper's Tech, shock expires, and Fielder's going to have a very late Kitsune rush now. That comes at a pretty decent time, all things considered. Chio's able to stave off Leave, handles him comfortably. Someone falls, though, with Annihilation in hand as Mew takes him down, gives him a rough case of tinnitus. Merit sees Gushui protecting himself in that Annihilation and finds some more juicy targets to deal with. He'll turn his attention back to the Ramatra as Weibo fall. 2 minutes on the clock here to get this round done.
And it's always just like a few seconds in Overwatch, right? They have an advantage with that Kitsune rush for like 5 to 8 seconds, and they're not able to produce any kills with it. For Weibo, that allows Fielder to end up drop his, and then now you get a fight win there for Falcons. A little bit of progress for Weibo, but not anything to get excited about there.
They spent everything. So much committed to that fight.
These beats are already back up, by the way.
I mean, these Lucios are doing the most right now. Leave going upstairs, might have found Proper, takes him low. Proper has to burrow away himself. Sound barrier for Chio, needs to get this one off. It's too late to keep Merit alive. Gushui pummels him before Chio can even blink. Here's Leave now again, wants to try and get past someone if possible, and it definitely hopes that now with the Annihilation that is draining his life force. With the damage on someone is good, and he lacks the backup, so he will fall. Shy, though, is the cost that Weibo play in order to take this Ramatra away. Proper emerges, has the duck back. Gushui a little bit low. Tectonic shock now, a bit of a problem as Leave was caught by it. Stunned up and removed. Gushui now at the edge of the map will be forced over it. And we're inside the final minute for Weibo. They made good progress here, Matt, but for that real peace of mind, they'd want to get Shambali cleared.
I mean, Falcons are clutching up on defense. It felt like all the momentum was going in favor of Weibo, and Falcons, they move off of the Freya plus Sojourn combination, and since then it has been a different game.
Lee pops up to contest. Someone not taking the bait, doesn't want to overextend here. Kitsune Rush comes out, Fielder repositions and will hold on to his for as long as he possibly can. Merit's got an overclock ready to go as well. Fielder getting pressured, Leave tries to get up into the back line here and force some movements out of the supports. It's Proper though that goes down first. The attackers now have it 5 versus 3, make it 2. They are going for it, and it's going to pay off. Chio with a sound barrier just to keep himself in the game, but everybody's looking at the Lucio. And Weibo Gaming looking at an attack side completion.
It is so important that they finish, right? Because it feels like they can play for a low clock here, and you feel like you're going to put together 2 or 3 fight wins on defense just by the map geography alone, right? On that third point.
This was an unbelievable sequence.
I mean, this is crazy.
And it's not just like a cheese overclock, shoot everybody with like 150 charged body shots. That was something special. And you know, if I really let Matt start talking, we think the fight's over. We think it's done and dusted. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, if Mitch allows anybody on the broadcast to speak, it means there's not a fight going on.
So there's nothing interesting and free to talk about.
Yeah. There's not a kill feed to talk about. So then you let everybody else go.
Know where my bread is buttered. And I've done this for years.
You have?
And no one's fired me yet. Not even once. Okay, there was at one time. It was close, but here I am.
Because I'm here. Anyway. So the Falcons, I want to see them I want to see them run the Venture off the start. I did not like the Freya-Soj combination.
Well, they never had any room, really, did they?
I mean, even with the room, I don't know if I would have fallen in love with it. Where this feels like, because Proper was playing so good on Tracer, obviously you ban the Tracer so you don't have that, but still putting enough pressure onto like Weibo, I think that's where Weibo was kind of crumbling at times. Losing some of that, I think, was really impactful. So I will see a Venture head-to-head here on Shambali to close it out.
Yeah, Proper not messing about. He's just going to pick this one up off the bat. Seeing two mechanical geniuses play Venture kind of makes you want to pick it up yourself, even though if you know you wouldn't come close. Meredith, obviously at some point, might consider the wrapping around, but there's enough Weibo players on the low ground to keep Falcons interested in the action around the cart right now. With this disengagement, though, that might change. Proper, Lee does such a good job with that drill rush, knocking Proper out of the way, and Lee's going to secure a trade at best. Potential fight win here. Shiloh goes down. Mew's able to accost Merit. With that pick off, Weibo should be able to stabilize here.
You get Fielder late as well, right? So Fielder will have a little bit of a longer spawn. You're going to have players coming back here for Weibo as well. So you probably have to give up a little bit of space.
Yeah, back up on that slope. The Falcons fighting pretty doggedly for any of that distance, but spawn advantage keeps the cart moving. Gives them just that little edge. Enough to advance their game plan, get the game state rolling. Okay, Vortex plane thrown down defensively here by Weibo Gaming. Proper's got an off angle. Someone's going to do something about this at some point. The leave's already been removed. Gushue is sort of bleeding out here, trying to back away. Proper basically ignores that railgun that came his way and is still going to place himself right in the purview of Weibo.
Oh, that is a nice vortex there, though, from Gushue. As Proper is trying to come up out of the ground with the burrow, he actually kind of like places it right at the spot where he's going to come up, doesn't get a launch in the slow, and they finish off Proper.
New sound, a sound barrier. Falcons, though, kind of having to regroup with 4 ultimates to play with. Could be a bit of drawn-out affair. I think these tech shocks are going to be important.
Winning another fight here for Weibo, or even extending it down to like below a minute, would be huge.
You're right. New gets a sound barrier off, all but Shy able to benefit from it. Shy is just playing back and was probably out of line of sight around this corner. Still, safe angle, but not the best line of sight to pressure anybody but the enemy tank. And Gushue's feeling the heat, make no mistake. It's Leave, though, that suffers and is falling first. Now, though, getting a little bit dicey for Weibo Gaming. Gushue with the Annihilation in play. Shy is able to find Fielder at least, but Weibo now have to give up their tank and Lucio player. Falcons have the first checkpoint.
Yes, they try and go on a little bit of a wrap. I think if Shy gets like one pick on that flank, it's maybe a little bit of a different fight, but feels like once he falls, it's like, all right, how do we just stall this for as long as possible? The Annihilation from Gushue, they're doing everything they can to keep him up on the point. Then eventually he falls, so Falcons pretty fast. Point A take. This is where Weibo made a ton of time up, right? This is where like Leave came in with the tectonic shock, and then Shy was able to get all 5, and they speed ran through this part of the map.
Leave dives in but doubles back. Thinks twice about that full engagement, as clearly Weibo aren't ready for that. Worker flank from his high ground spot, but Merit is able to pick Mew off as he tries to pursue him. Oh, that's dirty stuff. Okay, Lucio gone. Yeah, you got a Kitsune rush to lean on here, and Weibo might be forced to let it go and, yeah, look for a short-handed fight win, but it's ugly. Mark stuck in the corner there, and he was low health. Proper and Merit combined to finish him off. Oh, God, it's a full-on hemorrhaging here for Weibo Gaming. Not really able to slow Falcons down on the second checkpoint. They have got to find a foothold, and fast.
This is tough. I mean, 426. Thankfully for Weibo, they completed the map, right? So
you're going to run it back again either way.
This is the opportunity, though, where they can put together 2-3 holds, right? This corner, very difficult to battle around, even with ultimates.
Yeah, but
you're gonna have beat and rush, though.
Yeah, and that's gonna be used straight away. Mew has to reciprocate here, but Shy's already gone down, but he can't afford to give up more progress.
What?
They're not been given any choice. Made the right call here, I think, to die on the cart. Gushue serves himself up as a...
So you're going to give up now here, though. This is like the part of the map you would love to play defense, right? Look at where Falcons is going to position. They're going to like kind of lock you in spawn.
Bro, this time bank is practically bulging. 3 minutes and 40. Yeah, okay, sound barrier advantage for Weibo Gaming, but there's more for Falcons to play with, and they again are setting the pace, setting the tempo, and setting the stage for a map completion. Chai and Loeb still able to win out against Meredith at range, but will be traded out. Someone's able to get towards him. Proper taking his time, rotating those cooldowns diligently. Now's the annihilation, heralds the arrival of Team Falcons as they are breathing down the neck of Weibo Gaming. Tech shot comes out. Lee trying to hold his own here, but he's running out of support. He's able to deal a field release, but who's up next? Shy may not even be able to touch. Knocked away by the drill rush, still able to touch. Barely alive, but that card sails home, and that is a monumental time bank lead for Team Falcons.
Yeah, we were talking like Falcons was done, out of it. And Weibo, they probably felt like they had this one in the bag. We were talking, oh, it's great for Weibo to be so close against these teams. You can't play defense like this. I mean, it feels like they won one fight.
The first fight was pretty good, but they still had to give some ground.
Yeah.
That was the pickoff, right?
First fight was good. The issue was the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, sixth. I mean, all the fights after that.
First fight was good. All they got to work on is map control, hold economy, positioning, aim.
Yeah. Just work on everything past the first minute 30 and you're good.
I mean, for a series that has been so tit for tat up until this point, we're a little surprised to see such a decisive showing.
I still don't even think Weibo's out of it. Like,
okay. And that is fair.
Okay, like 4 minutes is a lot of time. But let's say you get close to second checkpoint here. I mean, even, look, you complete first and get it up the ramp, there's still some good spots to play defense from here if you're Weibo. So,
if Weibo managed to win the map and hence series from here, it would definitely be one of the biggest comebacks we've seen on this map in one of the most important matches on this map.
And think about it as well. They would come back in the series to win. After being down 100+ meters on Esperanca, and then having a almost 3-minute time bank disadvantage on the 5th game.
Yes. The odds are not on their side, folks, but that's the magic of this game, and honestly, it's the magic of a team like Weibo. It's never really seemed to matter to them anyway. Leave on the Farah. There's a bit more of a meticulous game plan, slow roll approach. They really would love this first checkpoint, but it's going to take a minute to get there. Leave, of course, with a concussive blast perk that draws people in, and of course that mobility during barrage. Getting some good damage here, but taking a while to build up towards that ultimate, and unfortunately, Farah might not be moving the needle quite enough for the attack side.
I understand the reasoning, though. Like, Venture can't really engage with the Farah, right?
They got one more chance at this. They're going for a mercy moment from Mew, but Shy's already down. Hey, good use case for the resurrect, folks. Got to be crucial to bring that in, and yes, Shy is back in the game, and then Mew is out of the game. A revolving door for Weibo Gaming. They can't seem to find their feet. Falcons sweep them off them, and that is a decisive defensive effort. Sparkle's already fist pumping.
Yeah, so that's not one of the good defensive areas I was talking about for the payload.
Okay, yep.
I like the Farah pick. I actually do. Because there's no way for the Venture to engage with the Farah. And the idea is like you chunk a few players down, and then, your Sojourn and your Ramatra can come up with some kills. It's just a nice Vortex captures leave. They're inside the room. They kind of panic a little bit and able to get nothing after that is, man, Falcons, a huge clutch up for them.
Absolutely. I mean, Weibo gave them some openings, I suppose.
Man, I feel so bad for Weibo, though. I mean, they get so close in these games, man.
Yeah, I mean...
And the way they lose them is brutal.
Isn't the kind of the Vegeta of the Overwatch world, Always such a fixer. So loved.
That's a good...
Never truly get in the spotlight, though.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big DBZ fan? There's no way, dude.
Not a clue.
All right, you would have teased other kids for watching it back in school.
That's probably accurate.
True. It's crazy that you wound up here, actually. I think it's your divine punishment. You have to sit next to me and let me talk about anime, and you have to pretend to be nice about it.
It is kind of wild.
Yeah, it's justice.
I imagine this is just a Sonic, see what they're running.
Yep, 3:59, excuse me, on the clock. A lot of time for Falcons. Proper on the Widow, sticking to it, in fact, at least for a moment.
I mean, one pick off.
There's no way. You can't be giving the Prince that was promised that easy headshot off the rip. There is the golden box of victory, folks. It is that close.
You're going to make an argument for Falcons to play the Farah here, right? Just poke them down with where you have to move the car.
Yes, they want to stick to something a little bit more tried and true in this current meta. Proper spotted out by Lee, but he can't afford to pay attention. Please touch the card. Touched hands on the card. In the box, please. Weibo don't have any choice. They can't fully commit to this high ground, and so Falcons kind of get up by default. That's a huge disadvantage for the defending side, who normally can sit up there and contest the cart for a long time, but that's just not where things are standing right now. Mew, the first domino to fall. Will there be others? Yes, it's Shy, picked up by Chio. Merit commanding this high ground now, and there's not a darn thing Gushue can do about it. Eyes to the heavens, begging for reprieve as the damage keeps coming on in. Leave, though, relieves some of the pressure. Someone does fall, but with Monka out of the picture now, there might not be enough healing throughput to keep everyone on Weibo standing tall. Merit's gotten rid of Gushue. That's the front liner down. Proper trying to stave Leave off. He knows this is his last-ditch attempt to try and keep the game going, but it is not to be. And the latest chapter in his epic rivalry is staying green and white. The Falcons take flight. The top team out of Group A.
And these two teams always deliver an epic match.
It's a guaranteed banger.
Every single time. I mean, you see how hyped the fans are, and you gotta feel for the players on Weibo Gaming. I mean, they are so good, and you see the level they can play at with teams like Falcons. It's just those last moments to get over the hump. They're not able to produce.
But they're not out of it yet, Matt. Opportunities abound to get out of this Group A and into our elimination phase. And you better believe Coach Young Chao Long and the rest of Weibo Gaming are going to put their heads together and decide how they will advance past Virtus.pro and AG.AL. Two teams, of course, highly respected in their own right, but you always know there's magic in the air. And a steal from the boy. Talk about a showman.